Okay, study skills number 2 for the week, second session for the week. So, again, I'm trying to be faster about this because you guys are starting to get to work quicker. You realize that the quicker you get things done, the quicker you get to the other work that you want to do because that's how things work. Works in the regular classroom, works here, works everywhere. So, good morning. I kind of like that. I used to have one of those. I don't know if I ever told you. It's a little French bulldog named Lily. She passed away. Rest her soul. But I love that picture. All right, win the minute, win the hour, win the day. Win the minute, win the hour, win the day. Work hard, take advantage of your time right now. You're locked in. You're ready to go. You're winning the minute, winning the hour. You keep doing that all day long, you win the day. You don't, you see how quickly things get away from you, and then you go, I got homework tonight. Yeah, your fault. So, all right. Snot, whenever you run into trouble, whenever you don't know what to do next, whenever you don't know what your homework is. That's why typically I'm not very sympathetic to, I didn't know what my homework was because I believe wholeheartedly that snot would help you resolve that. Because first you look at yourself, you reread the problem, you look at your notes, you try a new strategy. When it comes to homework, and I don't know what that is, classroom page typically has that. Um, I should have it written down in my planner. Don't have my planner, check the classroom page. Don't have a classroom page. Most times that assignments self populate onto the Google Calendar so you can check there. So there are multiple places to check. And if you just don't know how to solve a problem, look at your notes and then try it differently. Reread it, see if you missed something. But then after that, you couldn't figure it out on your own, you call the neighbor. Here's the part um, where there's really no excuse because once you call your neighbor, you're going to know if it's homework, you're going to know what the homework is. So there's where the issue is. You say, well, I didn't know which ones to do. You didn't call the other people because if you'd have called so and so who sits 2 seats away from you, they would have told you that these were the problems because they finished their homework, um, or they can at least tell you where to look. If you're trying to figure out how to solve a problem or answer a question and they don't know, it's good that both of you start looking together and figure it out. And then it helps us to know that, hey, the neighbor couldn't help you with it either. They didn't have a clue. So, next place you look, if self and neighbor couldn't help, you go other. You Google it, look in a textbook. If it's trying to figure out homework, this is where you can email a teacher. So there's you're contacting the teacher, but you're not coming to them looking for them to solve your problem. You're just, hey, I missed my homework. I don't remember what the assignment was. Can you please help me or tell me? Not even help me. Tell me where I can find it. And sometimes the teachers just forget to put it on the classroom page, and then that's not really on you. Well, it is because you should have written it in your planner, but it takes away, it gives you a little bit of an excuse because then at that point you can go, well, they didn't have it on their classroom page. I tried to find it. But when you reach out via email, they should be able to guide you to where that homework is listed. And the other thing is, if you're having trouble with the problem, like I say, there are YouTube videos, all kinds of different um, resources out there on the internet that can help you figure out how to do the problem. In the last resort, you come to the teacher. At that point, if it's me, I'm going to ask you, okay, how did you try to figure this out yourself? And that's where you're going to show me the S and the O. You're going to say, I looked at my notes. Here they are. Miss Fisher told us this, this, and this, but I still don't understand how that's supposed to apply here. And then on the other, I even Googled what this term means or how to show blah, blah, blah. And then I'll be like, okay, cool. And you show me an example. Now, what neighbor did you talk to that couldn't help you not because they're in trouble or I'm frustrated about it. I, I need to make sure they understand. Okay. So self, neighbor, other, last resort, teacher. Most importantly, no excuses. Give us your best effort. If you do these things and you can show it, nobody's ever going to be frustrated with you. All right, what we learned, we've been talking about executive functioning skills. Again, I'm trying to go quick. We are going to pound those things every day. It's not, just so you know that you're responsible for that. We've been talking a lot about executive functioning skills. We started off talking about impulse control. metacognition and all kinds of things. Then we decided to go more into what are where do we see executive functioning skills in our everyday life? Because not metacognition, but impulse control and planning and organization and things like that. How does it play out in my life? And we talked about over the course of this year, we're going to cover the basics of executive functioning. And we're starting with planning. Then we'll go into organization. Then we'll go into task initiation, metacognition, time management, self control, working memory, flexibility, perseverance, and then attention. And these are all the topics that we'll be covering all year long. We'll go back and forth between them. We'll pretty much go in order, but then we'll be touching back on planning. Then when we're in metacognition, we may go to flexibility and working memory. So we'll be hopping back and forth. We said we're starting with planning, and we've been doing that for about the last 2 weeks, ever since we got back from NTI. And now we're just going to review the basics because we're almost done dealing with planning. We're going to move on into another topic, which, if you go back and look, is organization will be the next area that we touch on. So reviewing the basics, planning. First thing, develop steps to reach a goal. You set your goal, and then you have to start looking and saying, okay, what are the steps to reach that goal? Next thing we do in plan was we prioritize. What do we do first? What do we do first? You can't do everything at once, and you can't let yourself, so many times you guys are like, God, that's too much. I agree. It's a lot. So you have this goal. You look at the steps of what it takes to get it finished and whether you make the goal or not. An assignment by a teacher is a goal. The goal is to get it finished. So we have to break it down and look at it. Okay, what are the steps to get this thing done? And then we don't try to do it all at once. We knock out the first step. So prioritizing. What do we do first? Okay, I've got 5 steps to get this assignment done. Step 1. Open it up, put the title on the page, and get my name on the paper. Boom, knocked it out. Got one thing done, right? So you're prioritizing what has to happen first, what happens second, third, fourth. Then you consider what materials you'll need to complete the task. What materials will I need to get the task finished? The next thing you do is tackle long-term tasks. You got to tackle this. You've developed a goal, or you have a goal. You've developed steps to reach it. Prioritize. You consider what materials you need. Now you got to tackle this bad boy, and you focus on the important task first. There may be one task that's going to be a lot more work than the others. And so we may focus there and just knocking a little bit out every day, because sometimes that's what it takes. You cannot put them off. And this goes to your school life, your sporting life, any goals you have, that you have to, once you set your goal, you have to break it down and just do a little bit at a time. One of my favorite things is like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Used to love hearing stories about them and how people think they're just these gifted athletes, and they were gifted. We're all gifted in some area. But the difference between them and us is when there was free time, they took advantage of it. Kobe Bryant would come back after a road trip, fly in at midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning from a basketball game. And there was a time when I heard a story, and it was the person that actually he contacted. He contacted the guy who ran the local gym, and asked him to let him in so he could go practice. And it's like, what? Who does that? A person who has a goal, a person who wants to reach their goal, a person who wants to be great at something, or just to achieve anything. They put in the work. Then you sequence the activities. Okay, this is the most important. Then I'm going to do this one and this one. And we'll work on this a little bit. And then that important part of setting goals. Okay. And then you got to start thinking, okay, if they're asking me to do this, what will they ask me to do next? Or if I'm dealing with this right now, what will I be dealing with later? So you learn as you set goals and you work through them, you learn to start thinking about the future and think, okay, what might this teacher ask me to do next? What might this coach want me to learn next? And you can go ahead and start preparing for that. Okay. If not physically, mentally, getting your mind ready for it. Okay. So just like the other day, we have 4 tasks. Your first one is your teacher wants to check your progress on a long-term project a week before it's due. How can this help you? So take a second and answer this question. I want at least a full sentence, maybe 2. Actually, tell me two ways this can help you. All right, second task. Name 3 tasks or activities that you need to complete today. 3 tasks or activities that you need to complete today. And they're not right unless they're serious. And I don't want to hear an argument, brush my teeth, go to bed. Tasks or activities that you need to complete today. Be specific. Next one. You have a big test on Monday and a very busy weekend. What could you do to plan out your time? And the last one. If you know you have a big test next week, what can you do to plan for it? You have a big test next week. What can you do to plan? And I'll throw in plan and prepare for it. All right, great job. Um, win the minute, win the hour, win the day, guys. I'm gonna keep saying it, keep saying it, keep saying it. You might not get it right now. You may roll your eyes and say whatever. There's gonna come a day when you'll remember it. You'll remember it. You'll be like, there's something you really want to accomplish. There's something you're just